Hi, Book 2. Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and I thought I would do you guys an update video. About what I'm currently reading and how I'm kind of trying to decide what I want to bring. We're thinking about going to my grandma's soon, so I'm trying to decide which books to bring when we go see her. Unfortunately, when it comes to my grandma, let me move this. Sorry, move that screen. Unfortunately, when it comes to my grandma's house, it's not as distracting as my sister's house because my sister has 3 kids, 3 little ones. But it's still like there's really no comfortable place for me to read in my grandma's house, and oftentimes she has Fox News on, which drives me crazy. Can't stand it. I don't want to spend all day watching the news, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not watching it when you have it on the background." And then now it is springtime, so it is baseball season, so that's a little bit of an improvement. There at least will be a baseball game on that she might watch. But so it's just kind of hard for me to get any reading done, because what ends up happening is if I want to avoid having Fox News on in the background, I put on something that I like, and then I am wasting my time because I don't want her to change the channel, and I just sit in front of my computer so that she will think, will see it as, oh, you're watching it. So it's just trying to find. So it's just making a decision about so I have to make a decision about my reading. So there's just really, and it's hard to find any place comfortable to read. But first, before I talk about my options for that trip, I'm going to tell you guys about what I'm currently reading. So I haven't picked up Jonathan Strange in a while. The last thing I read was the thistledown, the fairy with the thistledown hair, we still don't know his name, who's been luring Lady Pole and Stephen Black to his world and everything. He wants to put Stephen Black on the throne. And his belief, first of all, it's kind of I like how he really believes in Stephen Black and sees him differently from everybody else. And in a more positive way. He thinks he's worthy and he's a noble and he should be on the throne of court. Unfortunately, this is the Regency era, so and he's a black man, and no one else thinks he's seen as a servant. But the thistledown hair theory does not see him like that, and I kind of like their relation. I like it. Their how he doesn't, but the problem is that he doesn't understand how society will not feel the same way. But of course he's a fae, so he could really do a lot of stuff to society to make them be accepting and loving towards Stephen Black. But so I don't know how that's going to work out. But he decides to set his sights on the king. And the king has actually gone mad, and they put him, his wife, the queen, and his employees have put him, his servants put him in isolation. They have these 2 doctors constantly come and visit him. And of course, this is the Regency period, so they don't know about modern medicine. They don't have the same kind of medicine we do today. So, they don't realize what they're doing is doing more harm than good. And I think he has Alzheimer's. Even today, we still have not found a cure. We're working on it, but the king, I think that's what he has, because that's where the memory loss and stuff like that comes in. And Jonathan offers his services to help, see if he can use magic to help the king. But it kind of backfires, because the fairy shows up, and the reader realizes the king has been communicating with the fairy with the thistledown hair, and he's been trying to lure him into his world so he can place Stephen Black in his place. And he also sees Jonathan Strange in Norrell as a threat, so he kind of tries to get inside Jonathan Strange's head and make him think, oh, your wife is not worthy of you, and Norrell's gonna keep you down. Just come with me to my world. You'll be worshipped, and of course it doesn't work, but he comes very close, and that's the last part I read. I haven't picked it up since, but I will pick it up again soon. But as of right now, I decided to read Marcus Zuzak's The Bridge of Clay, which the first time I attempted to read this, I got it from the library, but it's a chunk of a book. So I decided to wait and see if I was still interested, and I ended up buying it at the roast office for $4. Or no, I see $3 because the hardback books are $4. For $3. So that was it. So I mean, it's not a loss if I end up not liking this or other books that I bought from there. But I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on this. Not everybody loves this, but this one came out 10 years after The Book Thief, which is one of his most popular works. And this is, and I want to say it's in the UK. Because of their slang terms, just the way the present day characters talk, makes me think they're in the UK, like the English countryside maybe, and it kind of reminds me of The Book Thief and how it was written, but at times it's more confusing than The Book Thief. Like there's no plot, and it's more of a character study. Which, even though I've said I'm a plot-driven reader, sometimes it seems like I do like character-driven stories. Because I don't have a problem with this like some people do. Like a lot of people do. A lot of people hate this and are thinking, and I read in a lot of the reviews, because I did look some of the reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of them were like, what were you thinking, Marcus Zuzak? Or is this, you wasted your whole, this is what you came out next? And it's kind of funny, people's reactions. It's about this family, the Dunbar family. It's their mom died, and it's just these boys led by our narrator, Matthew. He's the oldest. Although our main character is his fourth brother, Clay. And the Dunbar boys, it's about their lives. Their dad abandoned them. And they keep referring to when they talk about their dad, they refer to him as the murderer. And he shows up asking them to help him build a bridge over the river in his hometown. And of course they're like, no, you ditched us, you left us. You're not a father to us, so we're not going to help you. But for some reason Clay is actually intrigued with the idea and wants to help his father. Even though he, like his brothers, has this bitterness and hatred towards this man, he still kind of is interested in this concept. And Matthew is like, well, fine, you can do this, but you might not be welcome back. And he is seen as kind of a traitor because he's, going to go help their dad, and they do not like their dad. To build this bridge. And we also get kind of the origin story of their parents and how they met. Their mom was a German immigrant who was sent here by her father. It's just, her mom has died, so it's just her and her dad, and he taught her piano. And he taught her reading books like the Iliad and the Odyssey. And then you have Michael is the father, and he was already living. His mom is a secretary, and he had been married before when he meets their mom, Penelope. And he's kind of and he's very much an art type. He's really into art, like Michelangelo. And a lot of their taste kind of projected into their children, especially Clay. And they end up meeting when she buys a piano, but is delivered to Michael's address instead. So the two of them cross paths and end up meeting, and they really like each other. So, like I said, the writing style can be a little confusing. You sometimes don't know what's going on. And there's a little bit of, I'm wondering if it's meant to be magical realism in a small way. Because there is moments that I'm thinking, like, how, like, do you mean that literally? Or are you going for a more metaphorical? I do appreciate we have the shorter chapters, so you can get through a lot more. But it took me a while to get into it. But I actually like it. But I like it. I don't have as much of a problem as other people do with it. Of course, I haven't made a lot of progress. I haven't got very far. I still got a long way to go. So who knows? I mean, there have been books that I've gotten pretty far into and have DNF'd. Like, that's what happened with The Deadly Education. I got pretty far into it, but then I was like, okay, that's it, I'm done. And DNF'd it permanently. But yeah, so I like this. And so I will be, and I don't know if I'll check out I'm the Messenger or not. If I see it at the roast office, I might buy it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm currently reading this, but I'm probably not going to bring this with me when we go see my grandma. I'd rather not, even though I should consider it. because, like I said, I have certain books in mind for that trip that I want to bring. So, and I'll read probably a little more of that later today. So let's talk about the books that I'm thinking about bringing. So first, let's talk about the historical fictions I'm considering. I have two here. So first we have... Well, let me talk about the one I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it. And that is Sarah Duant's Blood and Beauty, which is a novel of the Borgias. I believe this is one of Jennifer Brooks's favorite on this famous Italian family that has incredible reputation. In fact, Lucrezia was known for poisoning her husbands. And there's just something about this family that's so interesting. It's like it's kind of similar to people being obsessed with the Kardashians. They're so fascinating and they're just one big mess. But you can't look away, you can't stop watching. Well, I imagine the same way with the Borgia family. And I've kind of been very intrigued by them. And I remember, I know Terry, for instance, watches a show about them. That's really interesting. And I don't know if this is Jeremy Irons' show, but and we also have, I know that one of Gregory Maguire's his Mirror book, which is kind of a historical fiction take on Snow White, includes these people. Includes this family in it, and it did get I did like that one, Mirror. So that's one that I've considered as well. And I'm looking at it has a price sticker that's a British price sticker. So maybe originally this person bought this book in England, and then they came here to Pinehurst, and probably put in the donation pile. It's just funny because it has that little price sticker, and that's I think that's one of the British money symbols, I think. Let's see if you can see it. So that's funny. So yeah, I've kind of been intrigued by this family, so I've been meaning to pick this up. And like I said, this is one of Jennifer Brooks' favorite take on the Borgia family, so I'm considering this one. And then I'm also considering... So this one I have a little more to say. So The Luminaries by Eleanor Canton. So I obviously started this a while back. I actually brought it with me to not last time, but during one of my trips to my grandma's, I brought this along with another book I have in this pile, one of the classics. And it takes place in New Zealand during the gold rush, and there is a bit of a speculative element to it. And so far, I loved the writing. It was very intriguing. And I remember this was one of the ones that I originally borrowed from the library. And then, again, seeing the length of it, I was like, I'm going to put this on hold for now, on the back burner, and see if I can if I'm still interested, I'll buy it. But yeah, just, like I said, there's something about this that and it's also an award winner. But yeah, and I feel like I don't read enough books that take place in New Zealand. The closest I've come to New Zealand is the Lord of the Rings movies. So, and it's also during the gold rush. So like I said, and clearly I have some books here that would apply to the historical readathon if I'm interested, so there's two readathons going on. This month there's the Medieval-a-thon hosted by Holly from Holly Hearts Books. And I did think about that. I looked into the bard profession for that one. And then Katie from Books and Things is hosting her yearly spring readathon is historical fiction readathon. So I did think about that as well. But I have to admit that as much as I like the concepts and the ideas, and sometimes the readathons where they come up with a story, I keep trying to commit to it and I can't, because I don't like the pressure and the expectations. Like, I know it's not like they're not like gods and they're not going to punish me if I don't follow the rules, but I try to match the books here with the prompts and stuff like that, but it's just very hard to make a decision. And like I said, I don't have a lot of historical fiction books, so but I might bring some historical fiction. So I don't know if I can do readathons. I think I almost want to just stick to reading what I want to read. And plus, after watching April from Getting Hugawood, her TBR, where she said she's this month on her birthday month, which is also my birthday month, she was interested in mysteries and thrillers, and I think that's one of her favorite genres. So I thought, why don't I read my favorite genre this month? So, but a lot of my favorite genres are big, chunky books. So including this one. But and I also like the fact that it's blue and gold. I like that. It kind of reminds me of Strange the Dreamer's cover, like how that's also kind of a blue and gold look to it. So yeah, I might bring this one with me as well. Okay, and then the nonfiction I'm considering to bring, but I probably won't. I don't know though. I mean, I might start reading this now, and even if I don't bring it with me. But I also kind of want to get more of Bridge of Clay read first before we leave. So I can actually get it done before, like way before the end of the month. But at the same time, I don't want to bring it with me. The history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. So this got my attention thanks to Steve Donahue's video where he talked about this. I don't think this is the edition he has. I think he has the newer Black Spine Penguin edition of it. But going by the pen, you can guess what this is about. The history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. I've always been interested in the Roman Empire. I just don't read enough about it. But I remember what first got in on my brain was reading in sophomore year, reading the play Julius Caesar by Shakespeare. Now that's probably historically not close enough, but like the famous "Et tu, Brute" is not the exact line he says in history. It is not the exact thing that Caesar says to him, but it makes for a dramatic line. But yeah, I thought about this. But it's like, on the one hand, should I bring something like this with me? Because I'm not going to be able to focus on it. Because even if there's not as many distractions at my grandma's house, there's still some distractions. So, but what I might do is get started on this at some point before we go. And then. But, anyway, so it will be a great place to start. This one, along with Suetonius's The 12 Caesars, which I also bought. And I hear that one is kind of on a, kind of like a gossip, like he's gossiping about each of the Caesars. So, and that would be kind of fun to hear about them in that kind of way. So, I'm going to read that one at some point as well. So, this is $15, the original price. And in Canada, it was $20, almost $30. And then it's $9.99. Oh my god, it's the cheapest in the UK. But, well, I guess because the Penguin is the UK's home base. I don't know, but, yeah, so, I don't know, I'm debating about bringing this. I might just start reading it before we go, like I said, I don't know. But, yeah, so that's another one I'm thinking. And since I have them here, let's go with, okay, so the two classics I'm thinking about that are fiction, because the other one, that one is nonfiction, but is a Penguin classic, is first, The Monk by Matthew Lewis. And I debated if this would really interest me, but Stephen King gave a blurb of it. It's very dark and a cult classic renowned as the definitive gothic horror novel with an introduction by the master of horror fiction, Stephen King. So, I thought this would be kind of something interesting to try. Something a little different than what I'm used to. It's also big print, which I really appreciate. Although I don't mind the small print. I don't like the minuscule print of mass markets. The fact that this history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire is a bit small. But I can live with it. So and actually this is not that long. It's 42 pages. So I don't really know a lot about what's going on except for I think the monk guy has a lot of inappropriate thoughts, and he's trying to be loyal to God, and maybe he desires women. I don't know. But I thought about bringing this one as well, but I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to, read this to my grandmas. It'd be a little weird to be reading this kind of book at my grandma's, but then I read other books that probably aren't, that are a little weird to be reading while I'm at my grandma's. But so I thought I would try it and see if I like it. And then the last classic is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. It's a very popular Tolstoy novel next to his War and Peace. This is one of his masterpieces. A lot of people love this. Although a lot of people love, not the title character Anna Karenina, but a lot of people love Levin, who is a Tolstoy stand-in, I believe. So it kind of has two love stories. It has the title character's love story, where she marries the prince of Russia, and one of the princes of Russia, and she ends up having an affair with a count, Count Vronsky. And then you have Levin's story, and he has kind of an unrequited love story. He's in love with this woman who doesn't love him back, I believe. But I think they do end up together anyway. Like and this is actually one of Tom Hiddleston's recommendations. I remember this. I wish I could remember her name, but there was a booktuber that did she read Henry Cavill and Tom Hiddleston, and she had this website on her video where she talked about wanting to read certain authors, where there's a lot of actors on there who they're reading books they would recommend. Tom Hiddleston was on there. Henry Cavill was not on there, but she got Henry Cavill's favorite books from a different site, I believe. But see, I'm not interested in Oprah's book club or Reese Witherspoon's book club. I'm more interested in authors that I really actors that I like, that I believe might possibly have the same taste as me. Reese Witherspoon and I do not have the same taste in books. And Oprah maybe, but it's just she's not my first, choice of book club, So but yeah, I was very excited. I was so happy that she had found access to a site where we find out what Tom Hiddleston's favorite reads are, what books he would recommend. And then the same thing with Henry Cavill. That was really cool. And what's nice, Henry Cavill is just like the rest of us. He's such a nerd, but in an adorable, sexy kind of way. So he was actually perfect for playing Geralt, because he's a fan of the books and the video games, and he really cares about this project and doing it justice. So it was perfect to pick someone that actually appreciates this kind of stuff and loves it as much as his fans do, to play the main character. So yeah, so I thought about bringing this as well, because I do need to pick it up. See, that's one of my other problems, is sometimes there's a lot of books that I need to finally pick up or get back into, and it's not happening. Okay, now let's talk fantasy. So first we have Sandlin Ascend. This is one I heard about via Alan from the Library of Alexandria, and we have our main character, Thomas Sandlin, who's not a typical hero. He's kind of a professor type, and him and his fiance go to the infamous Tower of Babel. And each level on the tower is a completely different world. And so at one point, he loses his wife in the tower, and he has to go find her by going through all these different levels. And so far, I have some thought and opinion of what I'm wondering if it's going to be one of these things where someone is going to try to sabotage them and ruin their relationship, and maybe tempt her and to try to seduce her as he tries to find her. And maybe he's going to encounter some people who will try to seduce him. And they're going to try to ruin their relationship, some of the residents in the tower. I could be wrong, but that's a lot of times situations like this. I feel like people try to get between the couple and test their relationship. And I feel like it's going to be that kind of story. It also kind of makes me think of Rocky Horror Picture Show, because I feel like that one kind of has a similar thing to it. I'm theorizing is going to happen in this. Well, I've never really watched Rocky Horror Picture Show. I just know the music a little bit. But anyway, so I was more excited to read this, but I wanted to get I already bought Trader's Blade from Third Book, so I felt like I should read that one first, and that one would not take as long. So I wanted to get to that one first before I got to this one. So I'm excited to read this. I'm like I said, I'm more excited to read this than when I was excited to read Trader's. When I was reading Trader's Blade, I wasn't as excited to read that one. And in fact, I might DNF. I put that one on the donation pile and not continue with the series, because I did have fun with it. It was kind of cool, but I didn't love it. So I don't know if I want to keep going with it or not. I'm sure a lot of fans will tell me to keep going because it gets better or it's more fun. But I wasn't feeling it. I'm not eager to read the next book. So that's kind of a bad sign. So yeah, there's that one. That's one of the first fantasy I have here. And then the next two are ones that I've started and I need to keep going with them. So first we have Peace and Turmoil, the first book in the Dark Shore series, written by our own YouTube booktuber Elliot Brooks. And I did start this, and obviously I've gotten into it, and I really liked what I've read so far. I had a good time with it so far, but I keep putting it down, and that does not, just because I put a book down does not mean I'm not interested in it anymore. It's just I get distracted a little too easily. So let's see. You have these 4 different people protecting these objects, these ancient objects of power. There's political drama, a little bit of romance. And I love the cover art too. And I'm not 100% sure who created the cover art, but I believe someone on BookTube created the cover art for her book. Now I know the last a couple right before COVID or around the time of COVID, I know she was having a lot of trouble, so she hasn't gotten a chance to work on the second book. She's personal drama, I believe. So it's actually okay that I haven't come back to yet, because she hasn't written the next book yet. She doesn't start writing it. So I keep feeling like I need to get to this one soon as well. And this was actually a birthday gift from Terry, so I definitely need to consider reading this one as well. And it'll be nice to be able to tell her when she comes that I've read it. Although, I don't know, she might not remember, because it was a couple birthdays ago, so she might not remember she bought it for me. But I remember when I saw it, I was very excited when I opened it and found that she bought me this. Unfortunately, this is also one of those books that, because it's newly published and it's not exactly, unfortunately you can't just buy it at Amazon or... Well, actually you can't buy it. I should say you can't just buy it in regular bookstores. You have to buy it online. So yeah, I definitely need to get back to this one. But like I said, the good news is she hasn't gotten a chance to work on book 2, so I'm not entirely in a rush. Okay, so I might bring that one as well. And then another fantasy that I might consider bringing is Way of Kings, Brandon Sanderson's Way of Kings. I need to get back to this one. I keep putting it down and not coming back to it for a while. And again, it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's just I get distracted. And this is a long, long book. So I need to pick it up. And this was a Christmas gift last year. So I need to keep going with it. I haven't yet, but I need to get back into it. So this is one of the ones I'm leaning towards bringing with me. And I need to keep going with it. I need to continue with it soon, And it's not a hard read. It's a fun read. And, Brandon Sanderson's writing style is very easy to get into. But it's long. That's my only excuse, is it's super long. So this is one I probably should consider bringing with me as well. But all these, there's a reason or another why I should consider them. But yeah, this is my brain is tired right now, so I'm not gonna bother explaining what this is about. I'm sorry, I'm just so tired and just, I'm not good with explaining fantasy plots of big epic fantasies. But yeah, so this is one I need to get to as well, so I might bring this one. I'm leaning towards bringing this one with me, definitely. And then the last one. Okay, so the original plan was to bring this. The original plan was to get back into this book. And this is the second book in the Game of Thrones series. And I've been meaning to get back into the books, because I did start them reading before while I was watching, before the show, before I got a chance to get into the show, and then I got into the show, and the problem is that if there's a show version, sometimes I'm more interested in just watching the show than reading the book, especially if it's dense like this. So my original plan was to jump back into this second one and just reread the second one, because I already read the first one not a while back, and I was just going to go ahead and jump into this one. And having watched the show, it's not super confusing what's going on, and I feel like I could get away with it. But then not only did I order on May 1st, order the third book in the series, but my dad offered to take me to Booksmelly yesterday. And, okay, so I have a budget for each month, and I went over it a bit in the first 2 days of the month. I got a little carried away, and it just gave me such anxiety, because my dad, was reminding me, I was talking to my dad about it, and he reminded me I didn't have to get this other book. And I was feeling guilty, but I wanted the book. So when, I kept making excuses of I already had paid for it, I didn't read until I realized until after. And I could have easily turned around and returned it, because it was a while before my dad picked me up. But let's face it, I didn't want to return it. So I went over budget. So I'm just accepting the fact that what I chose to do. And part of the reason is that I also got my membership to that bookstore renewed. So that's also why. Now, I could decide to lower my budget so that I have, get a little bit lower, so that I have to be a little bit more cautious with my, as kind of a consequence. So I don't know, I might do that, for next month. But anyway, so that was the two I got were these two, books 1 and book 4, because again, I got book 3 coming, and I already had book 2, which, as you saw, Clash of Kings. So now I'm thinking about bringing this one with me and starting over with the series and reading it from the beginning, and this time trying to remember to read it straight through, one book right after the other. And maybe by then, the next book in the series will be out. But unlike a lot of other people, it doesn't bother me as much, because I'm so behind in that series. And I still have the Blood and Dragons or something, that's book series that he started about the history of the Targaryen family. I still have that one to read. And it's blurred by Robert Jordan. So I might reread this first book, just bring this one with me and reread it. But honestly, the whole thing with this is I had the mass market copies of this book series, but I decided to switch them out to this size paperback because I like this over the mass market. But there are some books that I kind of have to keep at mass market, like Julia Marillier's books, especially her first series. It's hard to find books this size. Like Son of Shadows, I was able to find in this kind of size edition. But the rest of them I can't find. At least I didn't find on Amazon. So, I'm kind of stuck with those being mass markets. So that's another option, is I might bring that one. And I'm really leaning towards doing that. It's just the other books as well. So, and And like I said, I really don't need to bring that many because I'm not going to get a lot of reading done either way. But it's just hard to decide. And I have this weird thing where, like, I'm going to be away from my books, so these are going to be my only options during that time. So it's like, oh, no, bring something I'm really excited to read. But then I end up bringing too many, and I don't end up only reading little bits of each one, and only focusing on the one book. Or I end up spending most of the time on the computer just to make it look like I'm watching TV at the same time. Because, being on the computer makes it a little bit easier to do that. So it's like, I don't know what to do. It's hard for me to make a decision. And I consider relying on asking others for their opinions, but then I feel like I'm automatically going to dismiss them as soon as they say a book. I'm like, actually, I'm more interested in that book. And so I can't. So I have one more day to make a decision. So let's hope I make one. Okay, so that is what's going on with my reading. Would love to know what is going on with your reading. Do you have any plans for the summer? So far the only plans I have is that Terry from Florida is going to come to visit at some point, especially since we're not going to do convention again, or we're not doing conventions for another year. And what also, of course, not just the plans, but your reading plans as well. What are you reading this summer? What are you reading this spring? Would love to know in the comments below. Please feel free to share. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to be notified when I post new videos. And I hope you're staying happy, healthy, and safe, and enjoying your reading. All right, bye.